Welcome back, guys. Dr. Mike, and I'm a physical therapist providing tips on how to build strength and longevity with your body. Now, if you're someone suffering from aching pain or maybe even stiffness on the inside of the elbow, maybe you've been doing a lot of activities that require a lot of gripping, and you start to have this pain sensation along the inside of the elbow, you might be suffering from golfer's elbow. Now, although this is called golfer's elbow, this doesn't mean that only golfers get this condition. If you're anybody doing a lot of overhead activities, maybe overhead throwing, maybe you do a lot of labor-intensive movements in your job that require a lot of gripping, this causes a muscular imbalance in the flexor compartment. Now, we know that the arms of the forearm cross into the elbow, and whenever there is some weakness or even some stiffness in those muscles, then it creates or can create some pain on the inside of the elbow. This doesn't feel good, and I'm gonna go over some strategies that you can use to help take care of this pain for good. Now, keep in mind the first two strategies that we're gonna provide for you are gonna really help with your temporary pain, the short-term pain that you might be dealing with now. But make sure to stick around to the end of the video, because then we're gonna go over two exercises that will for sure help you prevent this pain from coming back again. Now, when we're talking about addressing any sort of condition that causes pain, I'm a big fan of really assessing the soft tissue around that pain region. So when we're talking about golfer's elbow, here we're really wanting to focus on assessing the mobility of the wrist as well as the forearm in our flexor compartment here. So the first thing what you can do to start helping yourself feel a little bit better is to start taking your fingers and to slowly start to massage them and rub your fingers all the way down towards your wrist. I tend to use my index finger as well as my ring finger, and I'm able to apply a good amount of pressure by pointing my fingers down into the skin. And I'm gonna run my fingers all the way down, and the reason why I'm going this way is because this is the orientation of the muscle belly. But I'm gonna run my fingers all the way down, and I might feel some sensitive areas, and I might apply a little bit more pressure or even hang out there. We call that trigger point release. And you can hold it there for 20 to 30 seconds and then release it. Now, obviously, I'm not using any sort of lotion here. You can, but I prefer not to, only because I feel that I can really feel the muscles just beneath my fingers there. I can really understand if it feels very stiff or the tissue does not move. Then it allows me to really locate and focus on a specific area. So you can work on this soft tissue massage along the forearm here for about 2 to 3 minutes to begin with. The second strategy, which I've shown this in multiple videos in the past, is if we incorporate some Kinesio Tape. Now, some of you at home might think, well, what is Kinesio Tape gonna help for me? There's not a ton of research about this product or if it's going to be beneficial for you. But if you're truly suffering from pain in any part of the body, and there's tape that can possibly reduce that pain a level down, then it's definitely something that you should at least try. So notice that I've cut 2 pieces of tape here, and one longer piece is actually gonna go at the same orientation as the muscle belly, specifically on the inside of the elbow there. Now, this other piece here is actually gonna go across, so leading from the inside where my pain normally would be, and then across the elbow. That is also the orientation that one of the other flexor muscles runs through. Now, the nice key thing about this tape is not only can it help with pain in that specific area, but really it can be used as a decompression technique. So as the tape is applied over the skin and you're using and moving those muscles, really it's gonna create some nice wrinkling and improve any connective tissue, fascia, soft tissue along that area, and can really focus on just alleviating any swelling that you might also be dealing with in that specific region. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply. So I tend to actually cut off a little piece of the tape here. And I like to start on one end, and that's the inside of the elbow. And that allows me to kind of tack it down and then I'll grab the other end, and I'm slowly applying about a 30 to 50% stretch all the way. You can slowly, a little hard doing this with one hand, but you could possibly do this with someone helping you out. But then as I got the edge there, I can start to lay that tape all the way down. And this tape normally stays in, like I've said in the past, 4 to 5 days, and then it'll start to peel off. You can take a shower and everything with it. And to really help with the adhesive, you're just gonna kind of rub that area and make sure that all the little points around the tape are sticking to your skin. And then once it comes off, if it's helping you, then you can apply another piece of tape, just like the technique that we're using, and use it for another week. Okay, but if it's not helping you, you simply don't have to use it. So everyone responds a little bit different to this. Some people swear that it works really well, and others feel like they just don't have any relief with that. That's okay. There's not a wrong way to do this. Now notice here I took the same tape and I laid it over the top of the inside of my elbow there, and now I'm going to go across the forearm here. So I still have a little bit of stretch here. I'm going across, and now I'm kind of making this V-shaped, and it creates a nice good support for that inside of the elbow. Okay, this is not a brace. This is not going to restrict motion. This is very elastic, and it's going to still allow you to use your elbow for work or use your forearm muscles for any type of carrying or gripping activities. So this is going to be great to use in conjunction to whatever activities you have to do on a daily basis. Now that we've gone over some of the short-term relief strategies such as soft tissue massage and applying some Kinesio tape, now we're going to move on to some other strategies that we can use to simply help get rid of this pain for good. Now, the first component that we're going to focus on is our flexibility. Often these muscles can get very stiff and tight, which leads to a lot of pain. So the best way that we can help get rid of this pain and improve the flexibility in our flexor compartment of the forearm is by working on a wrist extension stretch. Now, the key component of this stretch is not just to sit here and pull your wrist backwards. Obviously, you're going to feel some stretching of the forearm, but the only way that you can truly feel great relief is by extending your elbow. We know that the muscles of the forearm do cross the elbow, which means that in order to stretch it efficiently to its maximum length, we do have to straighten the elbow out. So I've showed this in a previous video how you can do that standing, applying some load on a box or a table like this. But in this video here, you can simply work on doing this wrist extension stretch by sitting down. So notice I have turned my wrist upside down. I grab with my opposite hand the palm, and now I'm gonna pull my palm and my fingers downward. What I should be feeling is a nice stretch to the forearm compartment here on the top. You might even feel some pulling in the bicep there, but make sure you really try your best to straighten out that elbow as much as you can. And with all of our stretches, anywhere between 30 to 60 seconds, a few times is going to be the sweet spot. And you're gonna hold it there, and then you can relax. And that will be a great exercise that you can implement on a daily basis. Now, the last exercise that we're gonna go over is gonna focus on strengthening. And we know based on some of the research that a lot of isometric and eccentric strengthening can be very beneficial when we're dealing with any sort of tendonitis issue or repetitive strain issue. So notice that I'm now supporting my forearm on the box here, and the palm of my hand is hanging off the edge of the box. This will allow more range of motion of the wrist when I'm performing this exercise. So I'm going to be supported here, and I'm using about 6 pounds here with this dumbbell, and I'm holding the dumbbell in my palm there. So as I'm going to relax, I'm letting the dumbbell, the weight of the dumbbell, drop my wrist all the way down into extension, feeling a nice good stretch there. And then I'm going to flex my wrist, really feeling the compartment of the flexors tighten. So this is working our grip strength as well here. okay? Then you're gonna relax once again, nice and slow. We're working on that eccentric movement there. So that's going to allow our muscles to get a nice stretch, but also focus on some strengthening there. And then we're gonna pull our wrist backward. The focus here is I really want you to hold at the very top if you can for about 5 to 8 seconds. And then you're gonna lower down nice and slow all the way until you feel a nice stretch at the bottom and you get some good range of motion in that wrist there. This is a great exercise that you can start to focus on, really doing about 10 reps at a time, 2 to 3 sets. And what's extremely important with this is that you don't start to cheat by lifting your arm. This is not a bicep curl. This is simply a curl of the wrist. So everything underneath your forearm should be in contact with the box or the table or whatever you decide to use this on. Now, if you're anyone that has dealt with any sort of elbow pain, whether that's medial elbow or lateral elbow pain, we also know that range of motion in the shoulder can greatly influence what's happening at the elbow. So if you want more information on how to ensure that you're focusing on your shoulder range of motion and your mobility, take a look at the video I made here. In the meantime, if you want more videos like this or you want to support my channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button below, and I'll see you in the next one.